Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel So Little Time, and my name is Karen. So I hope you're all doing really well, and thank you very much for joining me today. Today I thought I would come on and share with you a sort of sewing and crafting update. I've got quite a bit here to share with you, more than I thought actually. I just felt like I hadn't really had a chance to give you a catch up with where I'm at with all my sewing and crafting, so I brought everything down and put it onto the table, and I've got quite a selection going on here. So I was intending to keep this video fairly short, but now I'm looking at what I've got to share. I don't know if that's going to happen, so I hope you don't mind, and I will just go through everything what I've got to share with you. So I'm firstly going to touch on hashtag SewUpcycle23. I don't know why I say hashtag first, but you know what I mean. The challenge that myself and Becky from Notes from the Sewing Room are running. And we're thoroughly enjoying seeing everybody's videos that are popping up on a daily basis on YouTube. And they're basically people are sharing their plans and inspiration. And some of them are already sharing their reveals as well on their video. But people aren't revealing their makes on Instagram until the 31st. So yeah, that's been really nice to sort of see what everybody's been sort of planning to make. And I have to say, I am really, really pleased. I'm chuffed to bits with myself that I managed to finish one of mine already. So I'm not going to share it with you today, obviously, because I want to do a reveal video as well as my reveal photo on Instagram. But I managed to finish the quilted coat. So I've done the seam work chip jacket, and I'm over the moon with how it has turned out, because I was a little bit worried whether it was actually going to fit me, and also because I had to add that new fabric to it as well. I know it's not technically a sort of 100% upcycle from another garment, but it has made it obviously a wearable garment for me. So I'm really, really pleased with it, and I can't wait to share it with you. And I've been wearing it loads. It's navy blue, so it does go with a lot of my other clothes. So before I go any further, actually, I will tell you what I'm wearing. I'm wearing the Tilly and the Buttons pearl cardigan in this really, really lovely sort of crepe jersey, which a friend gave to me, and I just love the vibrant spots all over it. And I've got it over the top of my Colette Moneta dress in the navy blue punter fabric from Felicity Fabrics. And I've been wearing this combo quite a lot recently. It's just really, really comfortable to wear. And I have found that even though this particular pearl cardigan was really short when I first made it, and I have since lengthened the pattern for future ones, I've been wearing this one more because it fits perfectly for sort of on the waist of your dresses and that kind of thing. So I haven't actually worn my lengthened one all that much. It does go with jeans quite well, but I don't tend to wear jeans all that often. So yeah, I've been pulling this one out a little bit more. So I think if I was to make any more in the future, I possibly will just make the standard length and wear it over dresses. Anyway, so yeah, I'm really pleased that I managed to get that upcycle done so far. So I have actually got the dress still to do, and that's on the next thing on my list to do. So just to remind you, it's this ready to wear dress from H&M in, I think it is a crepe fabric actually, in this navy black and white spot fabric. And it's very much like the wilder gown at the top, and it's got these lovely sort of balloon sleeves gathered into some elastic, and then it's just a straight A-line dress, which is very unflattering on me. So what I want to do is to try my hand at doing some shearing around the waist. So I'm going to give that a go first. If I'm unsuccessful or I don't like it, then I'll take it out, and then I'm just going to cut it into a top just to enable me to wear it with trousers and that kind of thing. But I'm going to try and shear it at the waist first, and if that does work, I'll see how I like it in the dress form. If I don't like it in the dress form with the sheared waist, then I will cut it off to have it sort of more as a peplum sort of length, a little bit like the Mabel top by Tilly and the Buttons. Yeah, so that might work. So I'm going to have a go at that. I've never sheared before, so thank you very much for those that let me know that you can shear in the round. So I'm going to give that a go and just hope that it works out, and if not, then I will just cut it into a straight top that I can tuck into trousers. So I have actually found a couple of other items that I've already got to upcycle as well. So I've added to my list of things to upcycle. So they're really basic upcycles though. So I've got this this dress that I bought from a charity shop, and it was originally from Next. It's a lovely red and white Breton stripe. I did change the sleeves up, so I have already altered this. It did have a fluted sleeve on it, or a bit like a bell sleeve actually. It was they were really, really big. I didn't like that, so I took those off and I added just red fabric onto it. So it's more of a sort of 3/4 length sleeve. I think you can turn these back as well. So I just sort of used the cuff as they do for the cocoa top. but this is still in the dress sort of form, and it's quite a form-fitting dress. And I don't usually wear form-fitting sort of clothes. I usually have sort of garments that flare out over my hip area, and I don't feel comfortable this being as skin tight as it is on my hip area. So I think I'm just going to cut this into a top, because I've had this a number of years now intending to wear it as a dress, but I'm just not pulling it out, so it's just sat there being wasted. And I will wear it as a top, again with jeans or tucked into a skirt, a denim skirt or something like that. So that's the next upcycle I'm going to do as well. It's just literally just to chop it off and then hem it, and at least it will get worn if I don't like those sleeves on it, because I can't remember where they actually fall on me, or if I actually like them. I will end up cutting it into a short sleeve top and just hemming that as well, so there it will at least get some wear. So then the next one I pulled out is a me made that I made quite a while ago, and it's the Nina Lee South Bank sweater dress, and I do really like that dress, but this was the first one that I ever made up, and I made a size 10 graded out to a 12, which works really well for me, but it actually came up too short as the standard length of the dress. And since making that pattern, I have since lengthened it by about 2 inches, I think, just so it falls a little bit longer on me. And this one, yeah, it's just that little bit too short for me. So what I'm going to do is, again, I think I've got some fabric of the extra fabric of this in my stash upstairs somewhere. So I'm just going to chop it off into just the standard sweater, again to wear with jeans and trousers and things like that. So it is just a case of cutting it off and adding another hemband onto it. So like I say, I've got fabric, I think, upstairs, so I can add a new hemband onto it. And when I did this, I did the Sewcial 7 toaster sweater collar, which was a bit taller, and I do regret doing that. So I do tend to wear it either, you know, just rolled down, or if I do have it up, it's usually underneath a coat or something. But I just find it's too high on me. My head is quite small, so it just doesn't work for me. I do tend to like having a little bit more skin on show. So what I'm thinking of doing is either changing it to the standard South Bank collar, or to take that off completely and maybe try and scoop out the neck a little bit and put a neckband onto it. I will have to see, because this is a sweatshirt in fabric, and it doesn't have all that much stretch in it. Yeah, it's not as stretchy as some jersey fabric, so I don't know if a neckband would actually work unless I bought some ribbing. So I'm probably just gonna take that off and put the standard South Bank collar neck piece on, and see how to go with that. So I'll check how much extra fabric I've got in my stash, but that's sort of my next upcycle as well. So I really like the stars on this. I've used happy vinyl fabric, and like just to break up the grey basically. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that, because I think that'd be a really nice one to wear during this autumn, whilst it's starting to get a little bit colder. Right, so next up I'm going to share with you some fabrics that I've recently bought, and then I'll share with you some of my work in progresses that I'm hoping to sort of get done over the next few weeks. So firstly, I shall share with you, which one should I share with you? I'll share with you the fabrics in order of when I got them. So I won some fabric. I can't remember where I won it from. I feel terrible, but I think I was tagged in a story, so there's nothing for me to look back on to see it, because it disappears. But it's this really beautiful, I think it's a viscose twill fabric, in this lovely pink colourway, with this geometric kind of design on it, I would say. And it's really lovely. I think I have got about 2 meters, and it's an Eco Vero viscose fabric. 100% lensing, it says, and it's a really nice weight, so I think that's going to be really nice to work with. I have no plans for it as yet. I do have quite a bit there, but I would really like to make the Bakerloo dress. I can't remember who that is by now, but I'll put a stock photo here so you can see. And I went to Brum at the weekend, and a lovely lady, Claire, who I sat chatting with for the majority of the time whilst I was there, she was wearing a beautiful Bakerloo dress, and it really has inspired me to have a go at that pattern. So maybe this could be a contender for it. yeah, I'm gonna think about that. But that fabric I won, you know, it was off an Instagram sort of giveaway, but I'm sorry, I really can't tell you where it came from. I have no clue, unfortunately. And then I also had another win on Instagram, which I've been really lucky recently, having a few wins. And this is from Bornella Fabrics. The lovely Tanya sent me my voucher that I won, and I chose this fabric alongside a pattern. I bought the Tilly and the Buttons Lyra, but this fabric isn't to make the Lyra. I've got other fabric lined up for that, but again, this is like a viscose kind of twill fabric in this lovely cornflower blue with these white florals all over it. I really like that, and I think I'm just going to turn that into a Friday Pattern Company sage brush top, because I really like that top. And the crepe version that I made the first time I ever made it, I really quite like the way the sleeves drape, because they are quite poofy if you make it out of a structured fabric. And I do have one made out of cotton poplin, but it tends to be quite British Bulldog? Is that, no, it's a British Bulldog, you know what I mean? I feel like an American footballer. I don't know why I said British Bulldog. Anyway, but yeah, it just makes me feel a bit beefy. So I think this would drape really nicely for those sleeves. And I know some people have taken the width out of the sleeves, which I could possibly do. But I think if it's in a sort of a floppier fabric, then it's absolutely fine. But yeah, I really like that. So that was really nice to have won my voucher. And I chose that alongside the Lyra dress pattern. So that's another pattern that I want to sew up at some point. I've got so many plans, you never get around to doing them all. And then recently I saw Sam from So Let's Sparkle with Sam. She works at Carolyn Rose, who are based in Leamington Spa, and they have generously sponsored our Sew Upcycle challenge as well. So thank you very much for that. But I saw that that Sam was actually challenged to make something with this fabric that had been delivered to their shop. And oh my goodness, as soon as I saw it, I was like, right, I need to get some of that and copy what she'd made. So Sam had made the Tilly and the Buttons Clio dress with her fabric, and I am intending to sort of copycat her a little bit, but I'm going to be using the Bobbins and Buttons Emily Pinafore dress, which is essentially another dungaree style dress, but it's got a bit more of an A-line flair to it, so I don't have to mess around with the shape of that for me. But it's this gorgeous sort of, I don't know if you'd call that plum kind of colourway in this gorgeous velour sort of needle cord. So it's not a needle cord, it is actually a velour fabric, and it does have a very slight bit of stretch in it, as you can see there. And obviously a dungaree dress doesn't need any stretch whatsoever. But what I'm planning to do is to line the dress, or interline it, as I have done some of my previous dungaree dresses, to give it a little bit more structure and also to stop it sticking to my tights. And I bought the lining fabric from Carolyn Rose as well. And I got this lovely sort of lilac lining fabric, and it does have a little flower imprinted on it as well. And I think those will work together really nicely as a contrast. And what I am planning to do is to do sort of a tutorial sew along style for that, because in the past when I've shared that I've interlined my Clios and things that I did before, a lot of people have asked me on numerous occasions how I did it, and I have explained to them in the past, but I thought, well, I may as well do a video for those that are new to my channel and might not know how to do it. Then yeah, I just thought it might be beneficial for you, so that's my plan to do that. So I'm going to make that into the Emily Pinafore by Bobbins and Buttons, and I will do a tutorial on how I'm going to interline. The next fabric that I bought was from First for Fabrics, and I saw these advertised on their stories, and as soon as I saw them advertising, I thought, oh my goodness, I need some of that. So I bought just a metre of this really, really pretty jersey fabric, which is quite a retro sort of 70s print on it, and I just really like the colours that are in that on the light background. They also do one with a brown background, I think, as well. So there is another colourway, which they already had initially, and then they got this one off the back of a restock. Yeah, and I just absolutely love that. So again, I only bought a metre of that one because initially, I don't know why, I thought it was a French terry. And so I was planning to make the My Handmade Wardrobe funnel necked sweater, because I do have that pattern and haven't made it up as yet. But now I've realised that this is actually just a jersey. I don't think it's going to be suitable for that pattern, because I want something that's got a little bit more structure, and I think this is going to be a little bit too thin. So I'm thinking I'm just going to turn this into one of my go-to patterns, which is the Tilly and the Button Agnes top or the Cocoa top, one of the two, because I know that I will wear these under dungaree dresses, my dungarees, under pinafores and that kind of thing, and they also just go quite nicely tucked into jeans as well. So that's my plan, is just to make a standard sort of top. I'm probably going to go with the Agnes over the Cocoa, thinking about it, just because I find that I wear those more underneath a lot of my other clothes. It was really nice to receive a handwritten note from Tamlyn as she packed my order, so thank you very much, Tamlyn. So this weekend I attended Sew Brum, which is based in Birmingham, and it's a sewing meetup that they do every single year, but this year it was the 10th anniversary for Guthrie and Garney. So Lauren had opened that shop 10 years ago after she starred in the first Great British Sewing Bee series, and I've always frequented that shop on a regular basis because my mother and father-in-law live in Birmingham still, and we obviously visit them on a regular basis, so every opportunity I get I will take a visit there just to have a little mooch about the shop. So yeah, my husband dropped me off there on the way, and had a little look around the shop, and then on the first floor they had the fabric, pattern and garment swap up there, and I did actually take a garment to swap, which was really lovely to do. I think it was such a good idea that they did that, because there was actually quite a lot of people that did bring things to swap, so there was quite a lot to look through. I didn't have any fabric or patterns to swap because I hadn't had a chance to go through all that before I went, so I didn't pick anything up off those tables, but I did manage to swap my garment, so I'll share that with you in a moment. And they held it over a couple of venues, so you had the Guthrie and Garney shop itself, and then you had the Moseley Exchange, which was literally just down the road, and they had a sort of space where you could socialise with people, and you had free tea and coffee and biscuits and a few chocolates and that kind of thing, and you were able to take a hand sewing project with you if you wanted to. And then on the first floor of there they had a few little stalls, and I picked up some fabric from there, so I'll share with you the fabric that I bought. And this is from Sew with Holly, and I'd never heard of them before. They're based in Stourbridge, which is in the West Midlands, so not too far away from Birmingham at all. And I picked up this really lovely waffle jersey fabric in this lovely mustard colourway with pink and white florals on it. Really like that. And I asked the lady, I said, oh, do you just sew this as per a standard jersey, because I've not used anything like this before? And she said yes, you can just use Mariflex or use zigzag stitch. As long as you use your jersey needle and that kind of thing, you're absolutely fine. Now, I was initially thinking of this for, again, another Agnes top or something like that. It's quite stretchy, but I don't feel it's got as much stretch as the pattern calls for. So I have now changed my mind about what I'm going to make with this. Now, I only bought a metre because usually I obviously make the Cocoa and the Agnes tops out of only a metre of fabric. So that's what I bought at the time, because I bought this first before I then went and bought some buttons, which I then realised went with this really well. So I think I may end up going back onto Sew with Holly's website to buy another metre of this, because I bought these really gorgeous buttons from Pigeon Wishes. Absolutely love these, and I was there for ages mulling over what colour to buy, because she got so many beautiful ones on offer. It's the first time I've met Meg as well, and I have to say she was really lovely. I've never met her before, and yeah, it was really nice to see her. So I got those, and then when I got back to Simon's parents and I was getting my stuff out to show everybody, I realised how well these pink buttons actually go with this fabric. So now I've got it in my mind that I want to make a Marlowe cardigan by True Bias, and put those buttons on it. But obviously I'm going to need more fabric to make the Marlowe sort of cardi, because the sleeves are quite wide on it, and I remember borrowing the pattern off my friend. I have the pattern, but I borrowed it off her because she'd already got it printed in the size that I wanted to print it in. So I do need to reprint it because I've given it her back now. Yeah, and I did lengthen it, I think. Yeah, she allowed me to lengthen it, but I put it back to its original state before giving it back to her. So I need to cut out my own one really to lengthen, so I've got it always there. And before I did it in a size 0, which is the smallest size. I'm not a size 0 at all, but I decided that I only wanted to wear it open, so I downsized quite a lot just to wear it open over a summer dress. But if I want to do it up with the buttons, then I'm definitely going to have to size up. So I'm thinking I'll probably size up by 1 or 2 sizes. Possibly, I probably will go with the 2 sizes up. But yeah, I'm thinking that might be quite a nice one to make. So I'm going to have to go back onto the website and purchase another metre. I think another metre should be enough, but I will double check. I'll print out the pattern first and lay it out on the fabric that I've got and just see how much extra I do need, because if I only need half a metre, then I will just buy another half a metre. And that was reasonably priced as well. It was £8.40 for the metre, which I thought was really, really reasonable. So I definitely would suggest you checking out their website, and I'll link it down below for you. But yeah, that was a really nice purchase. And actually, that's the only two things that I bought for myself from Brum. I did buy something else for Angela at Devon Threadtails, because we are doing a advent calendar for each other this year. So I bought something to go in an advent calendar. So obviously I can't share that with you. But yeah, these are the only two things that I bought for myself out of the whole time. I wasn't there all day. I had to get back to Simon's parents' house for about 2ish. So I caught the bus about 2 o'clock, I think. But yeah, it was really, really nice to have that sort of time there for a little bit. I think I got there about 11 and stayed there till about 2. So that was enough time for me, because I didn't really need to buy any fabric really. So I just saw that and I thought, oh, that's really nice. And they did have a store there which is called The Little World of Fabric, which specialises in sort of Liberty fabrics and that kind of thing. I didn't buy anything off there. I'm not overly a fan of Liberty fabrics, but they did have some really nice prints there. Yeah, and they still were fairly pricey, I would say. Yeah, so that was my visit to Brum. So that was really nice, and it was lovely to catch up with briefly Adele from Sew for Serenity and Bex from What Bex Sews. So I quickly had a chat with them, and it was lovely to spend the morning with Claire, and I bumped into Romy as well. Actually, before I go off this subject, yeah, the garment swap. I managed to swap a top that I'd literally just made this week, which was the Nell t-shirt by Jane at the Dressmakers Closet. And I've made that before, but I made the hip length, which has got like 2 tiers on it, and I'll insert a photo of what that looks like. So I decided to go ahead and use up the rest of that fabric that I made for that top to do the waist length version. And when I put it on, I just didn't like that look on me at all. It just wasn't the right length for me. I just didn't feel very confident in it, and I just knew it was just going to go into my drawer and not be worn. So I thought, right, why not take it along, and somebody else will hopefully get some wear out of it, and if not, it will go off to a charity shop. So I ended up swapping it, and I picked up this really, really lovely skirt, and I just love this skirt, right? And it reminds me very much of sort of a Cath Kidston style fabric. It could well be, I'm not sure. And I just thought, I really like that style skirt. And there is a funny story behind this. So Romy, who I caught up with at Brum, and I've met her before at some other sewing events, she actually donated this skirt. And when I bumped into her in the Sewcial area, I said to her, oh, you know, I picked up this skirt from the garment swap. And she said, oh, I put that in, which was quite funny. But she said, I didn't make it myself. I actually picked it up from another garment swap, which was one that was organised by Adele from Button and Pip a number of years ago in Ashby-de-la-Zouch. And I said, oh yeah, I do remember that taking place, but I couldn't go at the time because I think my boys were really, really young, and I just couldn't leave them. And I think it was actually Adele that donated this to her own garment swap. So she made this. And so I did have a quick scroll back through her Instagram, and I found her wearing it. So that's quite funny that it's kind of done a bit of a circle around the sewing community, and it's landed in my hands. So I'm really, really glad that I got hold of this, and I've tried it on and I absolutely love it. So I'm now thinking of a top to make with it as well. So either one of these maybe in just a blue colour, or maybe the orange or something. Because initially it said on it, pattern unknown, pleated skirt made in cotton. And when I looked through Adele's page on Instagram, it's actually the Sew Simple Grace, or Simple Sew Grace pattern, which is the pattern that I used for my Dressmakers ball dress. So that's quite funny that I've actually already got that pattern, and now I'm going to be wearing this version that Adele made a number of years ago. So yeah, I'm really glad to give this a new lease of life and to start wearing it. So that's going to be really nice. But I just thought that was quite funny, the little story behind it really. Yeah, so that was my visit to Brum, which I really, really enjoyed, and I'll definitely hopefully get there again next year. It was nice to catch up with Lauren briefly as well. So my work in progress is then that I need to really get done. I've got 3, I think, that I've got cut out here that are currently outstanding. So this is what I need to get done. So firstly, I have shared these with you before as well. I've got my Megan Nielsen Havea, which is the quilted style short jacket that I'm doing with the neckband around the front, and it's kind of halfway made up, but I stalled because I need to, before I go any further, add some bias binding onto the inside of these seams because I'm not lining it. So I need to get some bias binding that is going to go well with the inside of this jacket. So I'm thinking maybe a mustard or just that kind of bluey colour. I did have Angela suggest a good option because I have got lots of this fabric left. She said you could unpick the quilting and make your own bias binding, but because I've actually got that much left of it, I'm thinking I could actually use that for something else, and I feel that that might be a little bit of a waste to unpick the quilting just to get the fabric for bias binding. So I think I'm just going to buy shop bought bias binding to do that, and that's the only reason I've stalled on it, is just because I need to go out and find some that is the appropriate colour for me to move forward with finishing that. But everything else is cut out. I've even got, I think, yeah, one of the sleeves is actually done. It's just inside out at the minute because obviously I'm going to have to bias bind that seam as well. So yeah, that's the only reason it's come to a standstill. So that's one of my work in progresses that I need to get on with. Excuse me. Then I have got the Tilly and the Buttons Cocoa Top cut out in this really lovely navy and white stripe. So that's all ready to go. And I did say that I was going to do a sew along for that as well. So that's what I'm intending to do. And I think that's half the reason it's just been sat there, because I could just potentially pick it up and do it in an evening. But because I want to actually film the process of it properly, I did do a speeded up version earlier this year where I did a time challenge for Felicity Fabrics, but obviously if you want to see me sewing it properly, that's not going to be of any use. So I thought I'd do that just for those of you who are beginners in sewing jersey fabrics. That might be a good one to start with. So that's one that I'm planning to do during this autumn. Now the boys are back at school. They went back today. It was our half term last week. They've gone back today, and they're not going to be finishing until literally a couple of days before Christmas Eve. So it's going to be quite a long term for them. But it does mean I have a little bit of extra time at home to myself to get on with things like that. So hopefully I can bring that to you soon. And then the last thing that I've got cut out that needs doing is the So Different long line jacket. And it's this pattern here, which I have made before. I absolutely love this coat, and I've cut it out in my teal boiled wool that I got from Guthrie and Garney. So it's literally all cut out, ready to go. I've got the fabric pinned onto the pattern at the moment. I just need to add interfacing onto specific areas of this coat before I can start sewing it, and that's another reason why I've procrastinated it, because I have to cut out the interfacing to put on it. So I need to get that done. So the reason I'm telling you all this is because it kind of holds me accountable to get it done so I can share it in another vlog, because I haven't shared any sort of makes vlogs for a while other than my pattern reviews that I've been doing for single patterns recently, and I feel that that's not really working for me. So I just think it's more beneficial if I show you makes as I go along in this sort of style video. So that's what I'm intending to do moving forwards. So yeah, and then moving on to another make that I'm going to be doing later this year. It's actually for my auntie, who has commissioned me to make her a jacket, and I've bought the pattern. So she sort of told me what style jacket she wanted, and I sent her a few options, and then I found this one, which I think is what she is after. And this is Butterick B6602, and we're looking at making this jacket here because she wanted one which had got a mandarin sort of style collar. And she really, really liked the fabric that I use for my Dressmakers ball dress, which was this fabric here. There's some of the offcuts, and it's got that beautiful lining, reverse side of it. And she loves pink. She's like me, she really likes pink. So she wanted me to make a jacket out of this fabric. So I did manage to get some more because I bought mine from Guthrie and Garney, and they'd only had a very small amount left in stock, which wasn't enough for a jacket. And then I know that they had it at Ashby de la Zouch as well, at the Fabric Boutique, but it had all gone from there. So I managed to get it from Fabric Godmother. So I'm going to be making this jacket for my auntie, but she does want it to be able to close because this one isn't open style. So I'm thinking that I just need to sort of increase the width of each of these pattern pieces to enable it to overlap and do either hook and eyes or buttons and buttonholes. that type of thing, or another pretty style closure. You know, you can get those frog closures perhaps. So I will double check with her what she wants to do, but obviously she sent me her body measurements to make it up, and I am going to obviously have to make a practice version before I cut it out into that fabric. So I'm planning to do like a calico version or something to that effect to send on to her, because she doesn't live local to me, and so she can try it on and we can try and get the fit right, and we'll have to do some Zoom sessions together or something like that. So that's going to be quite a fun challenge for me to do, because I've never made anything like that for anybody else before. So I thought, yes, I'll take on the challenge. So yeah, that was really nice. And then before I touch on a few other things that I've been making, I'm going to share with you a delivery that I've just got from Felicity Fabrics, which is for my next blog post, which is due in November. So Felicity Fabrics, I blog for them, and they're a really lovely mother and daughter duo, and I absolutely love their fabrics, and they always send you their fabrics in this lovely box, and I always reuse the boxes for usually presents and stuff. So it comes taped up, and then I haven't opened this, so you're going to see my fresh reaction to it. And then it comes like this with the spotty paper, and again I always reuse that as well for patterns, for presents and things. And I'll just get this out of the box itself. So this is the fabric that I've chosen for my next vlog. So I'm going to open it up, and this is the fabric. Oh, it's absolutely beautiful. It's a flannel fabric, and it's so soft. It's really, really lovely. And I just love the colours in it. So it's got my lovely blues and pinks that I really like. So I think that should work quite well with my colour palette. I've never had my colours done before, by the way. I just kind of know what works for me. And I can't remember how much they've sent me, because I chose the pattern that I'm going to be making, and I gave them what fabric requirements it was for specific widths of fabric, and they said they were going to have to check the width of the fabric and then send me whatever is there. So I don't know how much is there, because they've not put a note in, but yeah, I'm really pleased with it, and I'm looking forward to sewing this up. So for this, I'm going to be making the, I think it's Closet Core Pona jacket, which I know Adele from Sew for Serenity has recently made, as has Cara from So Mad, and they both each made beautiful version from one of their subscription boxes. I can't remember the subscription box, but one where you can choose a stretch or a woven, I think, one to do per month. Anyway, I'm sure you'll know what I'm talking about if you follow them, but I will link obviously both of their channels down below so you can go and take a look, because Adele made the short version and Cara made the longer version, and I really like the look of the short version that Adele did. So that is my plan with this. I thought it would be a really nice jacket to wear sort of with trousers, jeans, for going out, really, that type of thing. So yeah, I'm hoping to do that. It is an unlined jacket, but you can line it, because there is a, it's not even Closet Core, it's Helen's Closet, I think. I think there's a explanation sort of slash tutorial on the Helen's Closet website on how to line that jacket if you wanted to draft your own lining. Whether I'm going to do that or not, I'm not too sure. I will see how I will go, but yeah, I'm looking forward to having a go with that. Really into sort of outerwear at the moment. I've been making quite a bit of outerwear. Yeah, so that is that fabric from Felicity Fabrics. And don't forget that as I am a blogger, I do have a 10% discount code to share with you all, which is never expires. You can use it as many times as you want. It's Karen10, and you just enter that at checkout for 10% off your order. So next thing I'm going to touch on then is some crochet that I've been doing. So if you're not interested in crochet, it's probably the best time to sort of switch off now. Earlier this year, I shared with you a bee that I made, which was this one here. As you can see, this lovely buzzy bee, and I'll link down below the website that I used for that pattern, because I can't remember it off the top of my head, but I have since made another bee, so they sit together on the mantelpiece on top of the fireplace, and I made this one. So as you can see, slightly different than this one, because I found this one, although it crocheted up really, really quickly, the stitches are quite big, so you can see the stuffing in the bottom, which I wasn't overly keen on, but obviously when it's sitting on top of the fireplace, it looks absolutely fine. But I decided to do another one, which is just the normal crochet, what's it called? Double crochet in UK terms, double crochet, single crochet US terms, and it is a tighter stitch, as you can see. So the wings are exactly the same. I use the same pattern for that, but as you can see, it's slightly different in the way, but they are exactly the same size, near enough, and just slightly different faces. And the pattern I used for this one, the one with the tighter thing is the Peach Bumblebee amigurumi pattern, which I got off Etsy. Let me see if it tells you which is the Etsy shop in the back. Cute Cuddles Crochet is that is where it's from, and that's this one here, and I have made some in the past, but yeah, I really do like that. Yeah, so that's the two bees that I have made. So I just thought I'd show you that I did a friend for that one. And then as it's been getting fairly dark in the evenings, it's been quite nice to sit whilst Simon and the boys are watching the rugby or something on the telly and we've got the fire on. I've been sat there doing some crochet, and sometimes we watch a film on a Sunday afternoon as well. And I noticed that Rachael from the French Seams had done some crochet pumpkins, and she did kindly send me the link for the pattern. But when I went to have a go at doing it, I just couldn't get on with the first row. And I think you had to kind of crochet into the knobbly bits at the back of the chain, and I just wasn't getting on with that at all. So I in the end found a crochet tutorial on Mary Matthews Handmade on YouTube, and I highly recommend you check her out because she is a brilliant sort of tutor for crochet on her YouTube channel, because she does it at a really nice speed and everything she makes is so simple. And so I've made these really lovely pumpkins. So my first one was this one in a pink kind of colour, and the leaf I did get from somewhere else, but she basically tells you how to do the pumpkin itself along with the stalk, and then the leaf I got off a different one. So again, I'll link everything as much as possible in the description box below for you. But yeah, I was really pleased with how that turned out, but I did use a double knit for that, and I think my hook size was a 5, so it's perhaps a little bit too big, because it does feel a little bit loose. And so she did say, when I shared a photo of it, she said you could just size your hook down a little bit. So that's what I did. I think I used a 4 for this next one. So the next one I made up was this bright orange one, and this sort of wool is, I think it's a double knit, but it came through with the magazine, so it is a bit more scratchy, so it is slightly thicker, and so yeah, I made that one. And then I did these two, and I'm really pleased with these have turned out really nicely. One is slightly smaller than the other for some reason, probably because I overstuffed that one maybe. But again, this is double knit fabric wool. It's got a slight sparkle in it. I don't know if you can see that. And I really like how those has turned out. And I didn't put the leaves on those ones just for a little bit of contrast, and they just sit in the back room as like my decorations. And then I decided to go really Halloween kind of themed, to crochet some ghosts. So I have made 2 ghosts, and I'll link where I got the tutorial from for these as well. So my first one is a little girl ghost with a little bow on there, and it does have a bottom, so you do that first, and then you follow the rest of the pattern, and then you stuff it and sew the base into place there. And I love the way it gives this kind of fluted little design. And then I gave her a little bow as well, and just used my eyes on those. And then I crocheted a slightly bigger one, and this one I was going to put a dicky bow on, but when I did that it did look like a mouth, so I decided not to. So I've just left it as is, and again, you know, just crochet up the base there. So I'm really pleased with those. So they sit quite nicely with my pumpkins in the back room. It's all looking very autumnal and festive in there. And then yesterday my husband got, well, he didn't get called out, but he had to go to work because of all the floods that we've had recently. So he was out all day. So me and the boys did end up sitting down watching a film or two in the afternoon. And I sat there crocheting, and I decided to crochet myself a ear warmer style headband. And I really like how this has turned out. Now, this is a tutorial on YouTube by Jane at the Dressmakers Closet, but it's on her Loopy Mabel crochet YouTube channel, and she does it, you know, just step by step on YouTube, and it's a really, really straightforward, easy headband tutorial to follow, and I really like the stitch in that as well. But I have made mine slightly narrower because she does it where you have 5 rows of this decorative stitch. So these rows are just double crochet. I think you have 3 rows on each, so you start and finish on those, and then in the middle you do this, I think it's called an unfinished treble stitch, and you do those in clusters of 3. Very similar to the granny stitch, but it's not that one. And yeah, I just did 3 rather than 5, so it's slightly narrower. And I do really like how this looks actually, for just wearing over your, you know, over your ears, like that. So it's quite nice. It just goes over your ears. I think it'd be great for like running in. Or if you just didn't want to wear a hat, then you could just have that on, because I do wear a beret because I've got a fringe. I can't wear a bobble hat, so this works just as well. So I'm going out for a walk with my friend tomorrow, and if it's chilly in the morning, I can just have this over my ears without wearing a full beret hat, because then it won't make my head too hot, you know, it just cover my ears over. So yeah, I really like that, so I highly recommend Jane's tutorial for that. And you know, you can make those for Christmas gifts easy enough if you do some crochet. So the next crochet that I'm planning to do is, I've shared this before as well, Robin the Fox Scout, and I want to make him as the mascot for my cub group. So I just need to go out and get the relative, you know, the colours required to make him. So I'm going to be doing that over the autumn as well. So I think I don't have any other crochet on the go at the minute, so I could just start that next. So I'm really looking forward to doing that. And this is by a pattern by Sayans Crochet, I think that is. And again, I got that off Etsy, so I will list that down below. So I'm looking forward to having a go at that one. I don't know how big it turns out, but it'd be quite nice to have that as a mascot for my cub group. And then the last thing I've got to share with you, I think it's the last thing, just looking at all my bits and bobs, is a little bag that I made. I just thought I'd share this with you. Now, I've had this magazine, this one, which is Sewing World magazine. This particular issue is issue 244, and it's June 2016. This magazine is from. So I've had it ages, and I've never made anything out of it before, but I decided that I wanted to make the bag that is basically on the front cover here, because I accumulated quite a number of little fabric scraps from Felicity Fabrics, which they used to send us when they were getting like new fabrics in, so we could have little swatches of them. And I decided to basically do this style of patchwork with those little scraps of fabric that they sent me. And I really like how it's turned out, actually. And what's quite funny about this is even though I've had this since 2016, it's the first time I've actually made anything from it, the actual pattern itself is by Minky Kim, and she is the author and designer of some of the new books that I recently got. I think it was last year. So obviously it tells you the step-by-step instructions in there. And yeah, I really enjoyed making it. And it says here, Minky Kim, you see. So I didn't even realise it was the same sort of author designer that I've got of other books. And so I will be having a go at those in the future. So this is my little stab at having a go of it, which I'm really pleased with it. So all these fabrics are from Felicity Fabrics that they sent when they used to send us little fabric swatches. And I just used some fabric that I had for poppy treffery projects and that kind of thing, and I did a little bit of a free motion machine embroidery of a little bee on there, and then I've got a metal magnetic snap, and then I just lined it with the fat quarter that I had, and then inside I've just got all my sewing machine feet in there at the moment, and then I did a bit of free motion machine embroidery on the back as well. So yeah, really pleased with how that little pouch turned out. I haven't used my books yet by Minky Kim, which I had for Christmas last year, so it's really bad that I've not actually attempted any projects from them. So moving forwards, I would like to have a go at some of them, but there was a few fiddly areas of this, so my techniques aren't brilliant at that type of thing, but yeah, I did really enjoy making that. So yeah, I think that's everything that I've got to share with you today. So moving forwards, I want to get my work in progresses done and dusted before I start on really any of my new makes, and then I want to do my upcycles as well by the end of the month, so I can share those finished upcycles with you. And then I'm going to crack on with my Robin the Fox Scout for my crochet craft. I still also have some poppy treffery machine embroidery projects to do as well, so moving forward I would like to focus on those. I think that is everything. I'm just looking at my list here. Oh yeah, so what I am going to do is also to challenge myself. It's a little challenge that I'm giving myself, so you might want to join in with this if you fancy. If you've got a bit of a fabric stash, mine isn't massive, but I do have quite a bit, and I have found that some of the fabrics have been sat there for quite a while. So I'm going to be challenging myself to sew 2 fabrics a month from my stash. So I'm going to be pulling them out to see what I've got, hopefully relevant to the season that we're in, and to make up 2 garments from those fabrics per month, which I think is doable. And so, yeah, if you want to join me in that little challenge, let me know in the comments below, because I'm just going to bring them out. And then, you know, if I haven't got an idea of what I want to do with them, then I might ask for your help to give me some ideas of, yeah, moving forwards, what I could use the fabrics for. Because sometimes I buy fabrics with patterns in mind, and then sometimes it's been left that long that when I come to sew that particular fabric up, I've either gone off the pattern or I've gone off the fabric for them as a pairing. So yeah, and before I go, I will just quickly touch on my rabbits, just for those of you who are interested. If you are new to my channel and wondering what on earth am I going on about, I've got 2 rabbits, or we have 2 rabbits, should I say. I say I because I tend to look after them myself, as you can imagine. And yeah, these are our second set of rabbits. The first set, they died relatively early in their life, which was really, really sad. So we've had some more from a rescue place, and they've settled in really, really well. They are the most unfriendly rabbits ever. They just don't like humans, and they just live the life of Riley in their lovely hutch and runs that my husband built. And they have the run of the garden during the day when I'm here as well, and then we just shut them away at night and close them off, so it's all completely fox proof and stuff. I don't leave them out when I'm not here. When I'm here I can see them basically, but they usually take themselves back in after a morning run and then come back out in the afternoon for a bit, and then we have to go out and put them back in the evening, because sometimes they don't want to go back in and we have to chase them around the garden. But yeah, they're really, really lovely, don't get me wrong. They just do not like to be handled, they don't like to be stroked, which, as you can imagine, my boys do find really, really hard. But yeah, they do enjoy their life that they have with us. So I'm just glad that we're giving them a nice life. But yeah, they're just not as friendly as our previous rabbits, unfortunately. But I will insert some video footage of them, which I got in the garden recently. And BB, the female, which is the brown one, she has been a little bit of a minx, and she's been pulling her fur out. And she did it when we got back off holiday, and it was really pink and bold. It looked really sore. So I took her to the vets, and they said that they were going to treat her for mites, even though they took some swabs off her and used sellotape off her fur to check to see if there was any mites on her, and they looked under the microscope and there wasn't any, but we still gave her the treatment for it, for both of them as well, because just in case. But no, it just grew back, and sometimes it's when they're stressed that they do that. And so we thought maybe she was a bit stressed because we were away for 2 weeks and somebody else was coming around to feed them, and they didn't have as much freedom in the garden, even though they've got their runs, you know, they like to roam the garden. So maybe that was what it was, and that she was just showing off when we came back. But she's since done it again. So in the video footage, you might see that there's a little patch, little minx, you know. So we haven't taken to the vet this time because she just does it for a bit and it grows back, because apparently she'd done it earlier in the year, my husband had said, but I hadn't noticed. Yeah, so anyway, she's fine, but just in case you wondered what that patch is on her on the video. So I think that's everything. I'm really sorry, this is a really long video. I'm hoping to bring videos to you a little bit more on a regular basis, every sort of 2 weeks. So sort of like the Friday Sews style videos that everybody's doing, but I can't guarantee that mine will be coming out on a Friday. So I don't know whether I'll call it Friday Sews, I might call it something else. I don't know. But I think it's easier for me moving forwards to do that style of video 2 times a month, to show you where I'm at with my sewing, and what I've been doing and crafting, and just keep you up to date a bit more regularly, really, because the videos that I've been uploading where I've been sharing like one pattern, they've just not been getting the views, unfortunately. So it's a little bit disheartening when that happens. So I'm hoping that if I give more of a selection of things in the video, you've got more to look at and might be a bit more of interest. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. Anyway, thank you very much for watching today. Please do give this video a like and subscribe if you've not already done so. And if you have been subscribed to my channel for a while and are a returning viewer, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. And I shall see you all again soon. Take care. Bye.